You went from being a black neo-Nazi involved in violence and crime to mentoring people.
Yeah.
How close did you come to actually destroying your life?
Pretty close, like close to the fact that, yeah, it was. I don't think there would have been much time before my whole life would have been destroyed.
What was the darkest moment of your life?
Might sound mad, but out of taking away all the violence and that, losing my nan and granddad was probably the darkest one. Like, I've lost friends through like drugs and taking their own lives. Quite a lot of my mates have taken their own lives, and only one last year, one recently, but he was like a friend of a friend. And lost friends through murder as well. So, but my nan and granddad was the darkest time, even in the pits of like when you're off your head on drugs and you're wanting to end your own life. There's dark times where I've tried ending my life, but yeah, losing my nan and granddad was the hardest.
Yeah, so you were very close, closer than your own parents?
Yeah, my nan and granddad were my mum and dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I lost them, it was like losing. You know, when you've got, as a kid, going into as an adult, I never had security, so I never felt, it's a weird thing, I never felt like I was part of this world anyway. Yeah, I always felt quite separate to it. But my nan and granddad were like my security. So yeah, when they left, I had no sort of sense of security.
And at that point, did you think there was no way out?
Yeah, I went bad on the drugs, really bad. Taking, because I was getting rid of cocaine, I was taking more of it. I was taking more of the cocaine, I was taking that fucking MCAT and stuff, meow stuff, meth. Just, yeah. I was out there to destroy, once they're gone, I was out there to destroy, like...
Yeah, it's like self-destruct mode.
Yeah.
So is meth actually quite a big thing in UK? I didn't think people do it much here.
It is a bit now. It's yeah. But meow is meth.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, crystal. The crystal MCAT is meth.
And how do they use it? They smoke it in a glass pipe or snort it?
You can smoke it, but a lot of us, like, we didn't know what it was. We just thought it was MCAT. It tastes like cat piss, smells like cat piss, innit?
Yeah.
So we used to crush it up and then snort it. But what we were doing was snorting crystal meth.
You do.
Yeah. It's fucking stupid, man. I only found that out a few years ago, you know, about it being that it's crystal meth.
Did it keep you up?
Yeah, I was fucking weird off it, like proper weird. Like, yeah, there's some random fucked up stories. We've been on that. Tried crawling up my mate's radiator, literally tried crawling up there. And he walked into the room, he was like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, I'm trying to get in the radiator. We had, we turned, it sounds bad, but me and my mate turned my mate's house literally upside down. So we trashed it, we literally thought it'd be fun if we just turned his bed upside down. His TV was upside down, his chest of drawers were upside down. We managed to get his fridge and tip the freezer bit to the top and the fridge at the bottom. Everything was upside down, and then we created a little palace for him in the pantry, and that was his bedroom.
Wow.
And then we chucked like toilet roll and some condoms there and said, that's your room now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Sounds crazy, man.
Yeah, there's a lot more, but yeah.
So what was your childhood like growing up?
Childhood was rough. Like, don't get me wrong, I say this all the time. I did have some really good friends. And we used to do like bike rides and make dens and shit like that. You know, all the stuff you do as a kid. But the home life was shit. My mum and obviously her fella at the time, they were in a toxic fucking violent relationship that was around drink a lot of the time, and it ended up their frustrations ended up were taken out on me. Do you know what I mean?
And you've spoken about abuse from your mom and a partner.
Yeah.
So how did that affect you as a kid?
Yeah, it affected me a lot. Well, I didn't know it affected me at the time, innit? Because as a kid, you get used to being beaten. So that me going home and there's violence going on in your house, you don't really know that it's affecting you until you get older. Until you actually get, I think, until I got into my like early 30s, well, late 20s, early 30s, where I realised that it's had a massive damage and effect to me. Whereas before, I probably didn't think about it as much. I felt fucking lonely though, like every day was lonely. Because yeah, as a black kid in a white family, and obviously I didn't know my black dad at the time, sort of thinking that these family members don't like me because I'm black. And the woman that gives birth to you is the one that's supposed to be protecting you, yet she's kicking shit out of you.
So is that the form of abuse that went on? It was more like a violent abuse?
Yeah, violent mental abuse. They'll tell me I'd never amount to nothing, or I was a piece of shit. I was just like my dad as I got older. And then, yeah, the violence was like, it wasn't like a slap or a ruler or a fucking belt round your back. It was, you're getting punched in the fucking face and head volleyed against the bathroom door or drowned in the sink, shit like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So that was like the level of abuse.
And you mentioned your dad was in prison for 17 years. What did that do to you as a kid, not having him around?
Didn't do fuck all because he wasn't around and still isn't now really, but well, he isn't around for me, but it didn't do anything in that sense because it affected me as I got older, obviously. Like when I was, well, like obviously you'll ask soon about being in prison and that, but I sort of around the 14, 15 age, that's where I wanted him in my life. I needed him around, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So before that, funnily enough, I didn't really count myself as, I didn't really think about him. It didn't cross my mind until I was like in my early teens.
Did you feel angry, lost, or numb back then?
I felt all of that. Yeah, I felt numb. I was numb to a lot. I was numb to the pain in terms of like the violence. I didn't really think much or have feelings of anything, but the anger side of me was there because I was just angry at getting fucking beaten up all the time. And then it ended up me taking it out on me. I ended up taking out on my mum and stepdad. So it ended up me being violent towards them, and then obviously violent towards other people as well.
And how old were you when you first reacted back to them? Like when did the abuse kind of stop?
I reckon I was about 12, 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can remember him being in my bedroom and he had my head against my wall where my bed was, and he was there fucking full fist smashing my face against the side of the wall, and my head kept banging against the wall, and I turned around and started laughing at him, and then he fucking shit himself and then ran down the stairs, and I chased after him. It was like fucking Tom and Jerry running after each other, and then I ended up getting a kitchen knife out and then chased him up the stairs and fucking put the kitchen knife straight through the bedroom door. It missed his head fucking by half an inch. And that was the start of my sort of getting my revenge back.
And then did you still live in the house while this was happening?
Yeah, do you know what? It was never. I lived there, but I didn't. I was at my. I used to stay a lot at my nan and granddad's. If it was my nan and granddad's, I was sofa surfing at my mates' houses. But that was my home, if you know what I mean. That was where I should have been laying my head, but I hated going home because I knew that 9 times out of 10 there was going to be violence happening.
How does someone end up to becoming a black neo-Nazi? Walk me through that.
The neo-Nazi things is a bit far-fetched, but it's not, because it was me being around grown men that were voting for the National Front and BNP and hated anyone of colour. So it started because a lot of us lot, younger lot, from different estates had like estate fucking, you call it postcodes in cities, do you know what I mean? Postcode wars. Where ours was more like, we had shit with another estate, so there used to always be fights, bats, knives were pulled out, CS gas was pepper spray, breaking into people's houses and smashing the house up, sort of thing. So when I was doing that, as I obviously got into the estate stuff, certain lads would turn up onto the estates that were going to the football, and I wanted to go to the football and see what it was like. There's more violence, more people, there's more of you, so I wanted to sort of see what it was like. So I didn't really know that it was, at that time, I didn't know who they were. So that's how it started. But then, to be fair, it started before that, because when I started smoking weed, I used to go round to a bloke's house and he had skins tattooed on his forehead and a swastikas on his hand, and he's from Scotland. He's dead now, but he used to give us the weed and pills and stuff when we were about 13, 14. So that was probably my first introduction to being around someone that was a far right wing, and he's literally got skins fucking tattooed on his forehead and swastikas on his hand. Yeah.
So for people, say, who don't like people from colour or whatever, how did they come to accept you then?
Well, it was us we were called the under fives, so it was the older generation, but even some of the younger generation were going to these National Front meetings because they wanted to be around all the older lot, do you know what I mean? We wanted to be around the older lot. It was like, I know it sounds mad, it's like we'd all go to the football with the older lot, but only certain younger lot would be able to sit with the older lot, do you know what I mean? And you'd have to gain a reputation of sort of having a name to get into the older lot. So it just took me longer, obviously, because I'm fucking black. But I think a lot of it was down to the fact that I was like a game lad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think taking colour out of it at the time, they were like, fucking, well, even though he's a black, CUNT or whatever they used to call me, he's fucking rum as fuck. So let's, like, we'll keep him on our side, do you know what I mean? So that's sort of how they accepted me. And that it'd be mad, because when we used to go out on the sessions, like after the football, we'd be in the pub and we'd be there until 2 o'clock in the morning and go to house parties and that. And I used to sit with them and just fucking chat to them, and I'm like, how the fuck, you don't like me? So like, you're one of them fucking, you're a good black bastard, you are, like shit like that. Yeah, or you're a good N-word and shit like that.
Are you still friends with some of these people?
Yeah, I wouldn't say the old, not really, no, not the older lot. Like, we ended up being the EBF anyway, because the older lot sort of dispersed, even though some of them still go. But in terms of the younger lot, I grew up with them. Do you know what I mean? From the age of like 13, 14, 12, 13, 14, up until my late 20s, even early 30s, they were family. Do you know what I mean? As I got to my late 20s, early 30s, because I was doing different things in life, I sort of distanced them away from me. Do you know what I mean? Like kept them away, but because I didn't sort of want to get dragged into all that shit again, because it wasn't just football. Football was like I call it, like a couple of my mates, was like our side chick. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
even though I'd go, like, even though I was doing football for about 12 years, and I'd go most Saturdays, I'd go to the away games, go to the home games, but there'd be some weeks that I'd miss out because I've got other things that I want to do. Do you know what I mean? And that's where different sorts of violence and different sort of things were going on. That's why our football lot was a different sort of generation to the older lot. They just fucking loved going to the football, whereas we loved selling drugs and fucking doing damage to other people and doing different types of stuff.
So were you looking for belonging or identity or?
I look both.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a sense of belonging and identity. I didn't even know who the fuck I was. Do you know what I mean? So, what I used to do was, as a kid, I used to try and scrub my skin. You can see scars on my forearm from self-harming. Just wanted to be white. So yeah, I had no identity. And the belonging, I felt belonged when I was with them. But it came to, you started like, especially when I come out of prison, went into prison like fucking anti-black. Prison taught me a lot of things. It taught me more about crime. I come out of prison angry towards them lot. Do you know what I mean? Because I was like, they didn't give a fuck about me.
And looking back now, how do you make sense of that version of yourself?
Just a fucking kid that was very misunderstood and needed some sort of guidance and role models around him. And I chose the wrong ones. But if you can't beat them, you join them. Do you know what I mean?
So you've been involved in knife crime, drugs, violence. How deep did that go?
In terms of like, how violent did it get?
Yes.
Well, one of the lads, he was murdered.
Were you involved with it?
No, but I was involved in wanting to murder him beforehand.
Did you ever feel fear, or did you feel untouchable at that point?
So I felt untouchable. No, I just had no fear. That's all it was. I'd never thought, oh, I'm untouchable. I wanted to have that sense of not feeling untouchable, because it gives me more of an excuse or a reason for me to fucking hurt someone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so what was the main reason you guys fell out? Was it like one gang versus another gang, and then if you see them on site or whatever, then...
It was when me and him were in prison together. So like we were up for two different. He was in for something else and me, but we shouldn't have got on then, but we did because we were in prison and we were Shrewsbury lads. So there ain't much. There isn't many of you there, so you have to stick together. Do you know what I mean? But then when you get out, you go back to the estates. But because we were more at the football at that point. The estate things only grew after, but his was because I found out his missus at the time was cheating on him, and I told him, like, bro, your fucking missus is a slag. But what I should have said was, bro, I found out your missus is cheating on you.
Yeah.
So he fucking hit me, innit?
In Tesco?
Yeah, deservedly so. And then for 3 months I was planning his murder, so I had...
Because of that incident?
Yeah, just because of that.
Why did the other two lads kill him? Who were they? Were they his friends?
Yeah. They robbed his cousins, something of his cousins, and he wanted it back.
And can you get anything like from handguns, AKs?
There's pretty much anything you can want or get, you can get.
Is it very expensive?
Yeah, it's more, yeah.
And what was your first experience like when you went to prison?
I hated it, like, I'm not gonna lie. Shit it. Cried. The only way you're not gonna get fucking bullied is that you're gonna have to have a fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I done him. So I was sort of, after that, it ended up being quite easy for me.
So you think getting into arguments or fights, it's unavoidable when you go to prison?
Yeah,
It's like they test you.
depending on how long you're in jail for, you're fucking gonna get into, you're gonna get into a fight.
Do you feel it made you a better person going to prison or more angry?
It made me more angry, but made me a stronger person. Do you know what I mean?
Would you say that's a good thing, you know, letting someone like that out back into society? Did you feel, you know, rehabilitated?
No, I didn't feel rehabilitated, no. I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to go back to prison. And that's not because I was worried about going, is I just didn't want to I just didn't want to be back. But if I was to go back, and like I said before, I was on a few charges after my licence, then I wouldn't have fucking bothered. But my whole aim was to not go back and follow the same cycle again. I think my rehabilitation as such was due to the lads in prison, actually, even though that they're fucking in there for shootings and fucking. So I came back educated. Obviously, I came back knowing that I could get things done if I obviously paid the right amount of money to get things and all that. But I had good people in my head that would help me do that. So it was a bit, yeah, it's a bit of a catch-22 situation, because I did come back. I didn't go fucking back, so that shows that it did work to an extent. But yeah, I came out even angrier.
And was there a moment inside where something shifted mentally?
When I was inside,
Yeah.
probably I found out about my dad in prison properly. I spoke to him, not that I found out about him. I found out him before. It was the fact that he was my pen pal in prison. So, because he was on the run and he got extradited, he was on the run and then got put into a prison in Ireland for 5 years before and then they let him out and then they sentenced him. So the time he was doing 5 years waiting extradition, like, who's your dad and all that, and I tell them their name and they're like, I think I know who your dad is. And then it was like that. I was thinking, fuck, there's like, even though I never carried his reputation, I realised that I've got family members that are as you class as gangsters.
Do you feel you kind of followed his footsteps?
No.
Without even knowing it?
Oh, right, yeah, probably. No, me and him don't talk, but at the same time, and I'm glad I don't talk to him anyway, but he come from a well looked after family, even though he was a black family in the 1950s, 60s. There's a lot of racism, but when you've got a family of fucking 13 and your mum and dad are still together, you've got a solid group of family there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas my relationship with my mum and stepdad was completely fucking different. I didn't have that stability, and I was getting fucking kicked shit out of. He made that choice to go into what he was doing, whereas I feel like on one hand I did make that choice to go into that sort of level of like crime stuff, but at the same time I felt like I had no choice as well, because I needed to fit in somewhere.
And was there a moment where you realised something's got to change, I don't want to live like this anymore?
Yeah, there's a few. I think been a fair few occasions where I felt like that. My twins being born, my boys, the fact that I was getting fucking bored of it as well. My mates overdosing on drugs and taking their own lives. Fucking breakdowns of relationships, like, and they all become toxic. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I was just getting fucking bored of all of it, and I always wanted to help people anyway, and I just got fed up and bored. But yeah, there was quite a few different scenarios which made me sort of think, I've fucking had enough of this.
How would it normally work if you go and do debt collecting?
Yeah, it would have been, yeah. just go around people's houses in the car and just go, whether their family are in or not, we would have gone through the door and or met them and then rushed them and then tied them up somewhere. Like there was plenty of like not situations. There was conversations of different types of things that we would have sort of done. We just I didn't go through with it, and I don't think they did or he did anyway.
Yeah, so how did you go from that life to serving in the armed forces?
I had to wait 5 years for my convictions to be spent. 2 more years because I went to the doctors to say I was depressed. And I was still depressed and I was going through loads of mental health things, but I was holding it back because I wanted to serve in the armed forces. Not for the Queen at the time, not so much for the country. It was to sort me out, get some routine into my life.
And do you think it worked? Did
Yeah.
it help serve its purpose?
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of things that I won't talk about as stuff in the armed forces because, yeah, I won't. But it's not all that's cracked up to me. There's a lot of shit that goes on. But what they did for me is that I went in there with no qualifications. Yeah, I had no GCSEs. I had fuck all when I went in there, and I went in there at 28. Do you know what I mean? So I come out of the army. Done my GCSEs as such, my maths, my English, my ICT. I've done my personal training qualification. I've done my SII security. I've done my driving licence. So like, and what else did I do? Oh, the radio thing, so I can lay fibre optics, like cables and stuff.
So you actually studied all that stuff in the army?
Yeah. So I was on the radio, so what I would do is I'd sit in the radio and I'd radio through to the OPs, yeah, which would then target the enemy as such. So, because I liked that, and don't know whether it's because I've got obviously diagnosed with ASD. I don't know whether that was because of my autistic side. I like the numbers. I like the telephonetic sort of like conversations. Do you know what I mean? I just really enjoyed it. But yeah, you have to do your maths in English if you haven't got them anyway. So. If you haven't got your maths, English and ICT, you have to do it.
And then what did the military teach you that you didn't know before?
Yeah, I grew up quite a lot in the army because I went through a lot of shit in the army. Stuff, like I said, I don't really want to talk about, but I come out definitely a stronger man and sort of had a focus on what I wanted to do with life. Do you know what I mean? What I wanted to do. They gave me a focus. Do you know what I mean? I was focused, and I had my routine back in life.
Have you been deployed out on mission?
I was like the last lot to come over to the regiment because before they had their last deployment. So they had their last deployment as I was turning up to regiment. So by the time I got to regiment, the Royal Artillery was dead. There was no one on camp because they were all deployed, but they were all coming back after about 3-4 months later. So I missed that deployment. I went like different operations, like training operations around like Europe and stuff like that. Like, and obviously I get to shoot guns for fucking legal reasons.
Oh yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah. It is, mate. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
And do you think you were a product of your environment or your choices?
Both. I always take responsibility for my actions, but I do feel that if I wasn't in that environment, I feel like I wouldn't. I've got 90% chance really. I don't know the percentages as such, but I've got more of a chance that I ain't gonna be involved in that.
Do you forgive the people who hurt you when you grow up?
You have to forgive to move on, don't you? Funny enough, I've forgiven my stepdad. Yeah, because I actually met him. Yeah. Bumped into him in the pub.
Wow.
And he sat down and had a drink with me and he apologised. So we hugged it out. He's got a metal plate in his head, he has, from someone. Yeah. But he...
Do you know that someone?
Yeah, apparently they fucking put a hammer over his head. And that was the Section 18 that I got charged with, but I pushed him over and he hit his head on the slab, so... But it was an apology, and I sat with him, and he he apologised, and then he sort of told me a bit more about my mum, about stuff that she was doing, and obviously it's not my place to say because I could get fucking sued.
Right.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because she's got fucking a lot of money. So yeah, so I forgave him, and it was nice, and he actually spoke to me like a man and explained what was going on in their relationship and what was going on. Do I forgive my mum and dad? I love my mum, and I've reached out to her many times, but I don't think as a child I should be the one that's reaching out. It should be vice versa. But I haven't spoken to her for like 7 years properly. I spoke to her last year because there was a situation that I wanted to help her with. Do I forgive my dad? My sperm, I call him the sperm donor.
Yeah.
No, I don't forgive him. Because there's no need to forgive him because he wasn't around. Do you know what I mean? There's no forgiveness. I'm not going to say I'll forgive you for not being around. He was not a dad. My granddad was my dad.
Yeah.
So I do forgive, but not forget.
Do you think that pain shaped who you are today in a positive way?
Yeah, because even though I think I was always destined to help people, always destined to help people. I feel like I've got more, maybe more of an understanding of when kids are abused or kids being put, basically getting involved in crime, and other things like domestic abusive family relationships. So I feel like that's definitely, if I didn't have that, then I don't think I probably still would be able to help, because that's the type of person I am anyway, but I feel like I'm helping a wider variety of young people and adults as well.
Why did you call your book Misunderstood?
Because I was misunderstood. I was misunderstood at school. Like, I was diagnosed, over the past 10 years I've been diagnosed with tinnitus, complex trauma disorder, epilepsy, ASD, ADHD and anxiety. Obviously the latter ones, like the tinnitus, comes with noise anyway. The epilepsy came on in 2014, but the ADHD and ASD have always fucking been there. So I feel when I was at school, because I was either not at school or getting into shit at school. But that's because I couldn't express how I felt, because I'm not very good. Well, I've just recently known how to, or started to recently learn how to communicate better without losing the head, or without shutting down, or trying to attempt my life, because I can't explain how I'm feeling. And also I was misunderstood as a kid, because people thought that I was just a criminal and all that, but didn't know what was going on in my background. Some people don't need to fucking know, they just looked at me as this little fucking kid who's doing this and doing that. But really, I was just a kid that was misunderstood and was just needed a bit of help and direction.
And who is the book really for?
The book is not for me, the book is for my children, and also to leave a legacy for my kids, but also the book is for parents to read on how possibly they might be mistreating their kids, and also the youth. It's for everyone really, it's a read for everyone to understand what someone's going through, and whether they can be a better parent, or whether the kids think, fuck, I'm gonna have to reach out to someone because I feel like I'm going down a wrong sort of path. Do you know what I mean? It's just, the audience is for every audience.
What's the biggest thing people must understand about people like you, how you used to be?
Because now you would think that it's because I got gold teeth and tattoos, and they wouldn't think that I was the type of they wouldn't probably put me in as an author or someone that helps kids that are involved in gangs and knife crime and shit like that. So I feel like I could misunderstood now by a different variety, a different section of communities now would think that I'm still a criminal. But they're very misunderstood because that's not me.
Yeah, there'll always be some people judging you one way or another.
They're always going to judge me because I know
no matter what you do.
There'll be comments in the fucking, when the thing comes out, there's always someone that has a fucking dig at me. But then the thing is,
internet, eh?
yeah, it is, and I always say, just don't throw stones at fucking glass houses. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of these people that make comments are doing it in fucking cells anyway. Do you know what I mean? And don't need to get a fucking life.
And what do you do now with new generation coaching?
I do a lot of volunteer stuff. Normally, I go to schools and do mentoring, do one-to-one mentoring with young people. I do motivational talks. I do workshops. I've just been funded by Telford United Football Club, so I'm running an under-16s football club for under-16s training to get a football club up and running for the summer. I'm the manager, and that's for under-16s, but them under-16s are kids that have come from deprived backgrounds. And then also, yeah, and it's got me into places where I didn't think I'd win. I've won an award. I won an award last year, Second Chance Achiever Award, sponsored by the RAF, the Black Awards it was. Been nominated for my book, Celebrated Author. I'm a finalist for that. Got a recognition award from the Mayor, and I went to the Mayor's Ball last week, and I'm in London.
Wow.
Next month.
It's amazing.
Yeah, because I feel like I put in the work to receive this. I've gained recognition of stuff that I'm putting into the community. Yeah. It's not that I just fucking say I'm going to do it. When I say I'm going to help people, I'm going to fucking help people, and that'll be what I'll be doing till the day.
And you're in a new direction now, so instead of being surrounded with all the negative and crime and violence, you're now in a completely different direction where you're actually helping people and doing good.
Yeah.
So
I'm fortunate to have a lot of positive people around me, really good people. Some people, a couple of lads were lads that I've grown up with that were involved in certain things that I did, but they've gone in the same direction as me. We've all sort of moved together as one. Do you know what I mean?
And what's the most common struggles people come to you with, to you nowadays?
It varies, to be fair. So I've got a couple that have one. I can't mention names, but there's county lines that I'm dealing with. Kids that have been, they're not kids, they're adult, young men that are involved in shotting, knife crime. And then on the other hand, there's kids that I'm looking after or mentoring that have got behavioural problems, and also are suffering really badly with autism. So there's a different spectrum of different kids, but I can at least help them with each and every one because I've had behavioural problems. I've got ASD and I've been involved in certain crime. So it's a different variety of stuff at the moment.
Yeah. And what's one mindset shift that could change someone's life?
I always say, I say this all the time, why would you want to go to prison for 20 years and be, if you're a lad that I'm mentoring, why would you want to go to prison for 10, 15 years and I'll be like, do you like women? Yeah. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, why would you want to be padded up with a bloke for 15 years?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Very true.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything bloody worse.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then also COD as well. Like some of these kids, I say, do you play COD? Like Call of Duty and that, and they're like, yeah. And I said, well, you can respawn on COD, but you can't fucking respawn in real life. You're dead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. But ultimately, it's me showing the young people what I've been through, because I do presentations and that, and they see real life pictures of like my convictions, of the domestic abuse going on where I was stabbed and stuff. So it's sort when kids are on the periphery of it and they have something that is relatable and real. Hopefully it helps some of them. But again, ultimately, I always say I can't wave a magic wand to help a young person. It's ultimately their decision. I can just give them the guidance, and if they choose to come along with me, then they can. But if they're at a point where they need to go to jail, because sometimes they need to go to jail to come out to know that they don't want to fucking go back. Exactly. So it's one of them. That's sort of like that's what I teach the kids. I can help if you want to be helped, but if you don't, then I can give you guidance. But ultimately, it's your choice.
That's it. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it must come from the person. Same as someone who quits 100%. Drink or alcohol, right?
Yeah.
They must genuinely want to change
for
it to happen.
Yeah, 100%.
So if somebody who's listening now feels lost or angry or like they want to give up, what would you say to them?
Come contact me. I've got a website, newgenerationcoaching.uk. There's a referral form. I'm on Instagram, New Generation Coaching. I'm on LinkedIn. So I know kids won't be using LinkedIn, but parents probably might use LinkedIn. They can contact me, and then they can tell me about what sort of problems they're going through, and then you sort of go from there with it.
And is it mostly teenagers or kids? What is the age that you work with?
There's not a age limit.
Right.
It's from whatever age, but it tends to, because it's called New Generation Coaching. The whole concept of New Generation Coaching was our fucking generation's fucked. Yeah, but I don't want the new generation to be fucked. So it was aimed at that, but I'm like looking after people in their mid-20s. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And age is not an issue something.
Great. And I mean, we'll put your details in the description.
Yeah, man.
So anybody that wants to reach out, they can message you and get hold of you.
Yeah.
And is there anything that we haven't mentioned that you feel people should know?
Men's mental health, I think, is a massive thing. I've just done a mental health first aid course because I work for the council, Shropshire Council as well, as a lived experience worker for adults that have got drink and drug substance misuse issues. And mental health for me is a massive thing. As you know, I missed the last appointment because I fucking ended up having a fit. Do you know what I mean? And that's through stress, through my mental health. And I think if we don't talk, men don't talk, then we're going to keep losing more men. And I've lost the majority. I've said this in loads of podcasts. I've lost a lot of male friends through drug overdoses because they've wanted to overdose or taken their own lives. So I just hope that more men talk to their mates, because I've got a good select group of lad mates that I chat to near enough every day, and we check in on each other and make sure that we're okay. It's a difficult one because we're only just getting used to being talking. Even though I talk on podcasts, feelings are a completely different subject, aren't they, to talk about? So we've only just started doing it. So men need to talk more.
And where can people buy your book?
It's on Amazon. It's in Waterstones as well. All online. So
great.
Ben J Butler, Misunderstood. On Amazon and Waterstones.
Awesome. Ben, on that note, we are done with your tattoo.
Thank you, mate.
And it was a pleasure to have you here, brother.
Cheers, thank you, bro.
And wish you all the best, a lot of success, and with this New Generation Coaching.
Cheers, thank you, bro.
If you guys like the episode, you know where to find me. Cheers.
Thank you, bro.
Nice, bro.
Fucking hell, my back.
You know what?